Hello everybody, I'm still working on getting these activities working for you. I think I figured it out today and I reached out to somebody, so hopefully by next week they'll be up and working 100% for you. So for today we're just going to walk through these together. And in a second we'll get started here. Okay, so with this lab environment, you can see it set up here. I actually have 3 different computers that I can work on: PLAB Linux 01, PLAB Linux 02, and PLABS A01. Alright, so that's what's described here, and this information, more or less, it's telling you about this environment. So I'm going to go to the next page, and it tells you about the computer setup, gives you their IP addresses if you need those, and their names, and what they're running. So this is a Windows server. We have an Ubuntu server, which is Linux, and a CentOS server, which is also Linux. So we have 2 Linux servers and 1 Windows server. And now I'm going to the next page. Working with Ttys. By default, Getty or the get Tty processes are started only on the first 6 virtual consoles in CentOS. A Getty process is responsible for managing the virtual consoles, which are Ttys. In this exercise, we will work with Ttys. We'll log into the Linux system, enable and disable Ttys, view the login dconf file, and we'll be using the PLAB Linux 01 or the CentOS server. So we come here and make sure it is turned on. So where it says off, right below that we go to power on, and then if I click on the computer name up here, it'll start displaying that computer in this window. Okay, task 1, enable and disable Ttys. A user can toggle between the Tty consoles using Control-Alt-F or function 1 through 6. Even though there are 6 Tty consoles, they are created on the fly, meaning when they're needed. The systemd process in CentOS and many other flavors of Linux manages the Tty consoles. And this task will enable and disable Ttys, and to do that we'll perform the following steps. So I'm going to right click on the desktop and open terminal. The terminal window comes up. You can check the active Tty connections by typing W. And hitting enter, and those are our active connections. Let's first start a Tty. You can start Tty3, press the following keys: Control, Alt, and F3. Notice that that brings up the command window. Alright, to get us out of that window and back to the other one, we do Control, Alt, and F1. And now we're in the back to the graphical window. You can use the PS command to find out the process ID of the TTY console. So we'll type the following command, PS-FT. And I'm in the wrong window, so let's scroll down. PS-FT PTS/0. This is viewing the process IDs of the TTY consoles. So you can see the process ID numbers for those TTY. We can use the kill command to kill a TTY console process. Type the following command, and since ours is not 19925, I'm going to look at this picture and give me wasn't supposed to pause on me. I was trying to put the window down here and get my directions in printed form so I can scroll down and look at that picture and see where the 19225 comes from. Alright, so it's the process ID for the bash 19925. So we're going to look for that on ours. Ours is 2512. So when I do my kill, I'll do 2512. And it says no, the number's different. Yeah, that's. And then if we want to see that it did, okay, it doesn't look like it did. Oh, it did. Okay. Oh, good. Hang on. Keep going. So we'll clear the screen. And to kill a TTY connection forcefully, that means if it's running, we have to shut it down. We do P-kill-9-T PTS/0. And that should kill my terminal window. We're now back on the desktop. Let go away. No? Okay. Look at them. On the desktop, they want us to open our terminal back up. So I'll right click on my desktop and open terminal. We can check current TTYs. We can check the current TTY console using the PS command. And you see the one that we killed did shut down and a new one came up. In the previous steps, we opened TTY3. We can verify it is still open by typing PS-EF pipe grep TTY. Oops. Okay, so we can see TTY3 is open and running. You can kill a TTY console by using the sudo kill command. At this point, attempt to kill the TTY process. Start multiple TTY consoles and then use this command to kill each one. Try killing TTY1 as well. And that's why I need to go back and look at my directions one more time. Open terminal, just did that one. I did PS, okay, and now on to, okay, so that is where we're at. But it wanted to try to kill these different ones, so let's try sudo kill TTY3. I do not know the password. Hang on, it should be, what did we set it up to? I do not remember. So it's going to bump me on that. And it didn't give me the password here, so I'm going to skip that and come on down to viewing the login comp. Let me see if I can go to this one, Control C, on the wrong page, Control C. Okay, and I want us to clear the screen. And then cat /ECT/systemd/log lognd.conf, and that's all on one line. I actually noticed there that I had an extra slash, but it didn't seem to bother it at all. Okay. Okay, so we opened the file. This is actually the information in the file. Notice some of the key parameters in Vyado's VT. In Vyado's VT, so that's where it gets that number 6 and how many TTYs it can create. Default setting is 6. You can set it to any number from 0 to 6. If it is set to 0, the automatic spawning of Auto VT services is disabled, so you wouldn't be able to use TTYs. Reserve VT requires a positive integer. We can change the value of both parameters. And then they have some review questions on the next page. How many TTY consoles? 6. I got that one right. Which value, along with the pkill command, will kill a Tty connection forcefully? And it's -9. Which command helps you check the current TTY console? TTY. Other than the TTY command, which command reveals the name of the current TTY console. That's PS. You can control the use of TTY consoles using the system login. Please ensure you've completed all items before submitting your report. We do not have to submit a report, but we are all good there. So I'm going to exit out of this one and come back and launch the next one, access the Linux system. Sorry, when I redo them, I have to start them all over. Okay. So again, this is the introduction. It really just introduces the whole lab forum. The second page introduces those computers and their IP addresses. And usually the third page is where our task starts. So in exercise 1, we're going to access the Linux system. A Linux system, just like any other operating system, can either be used in personal or remotely. You can access the Linux system remotely or use the Linux system to access another system such as Windows. In this exercise, we're going to learn to access the Linux system using different methods. So we'll log into the Linux system, we'll configure the network on CentOS, and connect with CentOS using Putty. And then we'll connect to Windows from CentOS. We're going to be using the PLabs A01, that one is on, and the PLab Linux 01 we need to power on. Okay, for a client to communicate on the network, it needs to have an IP address. If the client exists on the IPv4 network, then the client must have an IPv4 address. On the IPv6 network, the client must have an IPv6 address. In this task, we're going to configure an IP address on the client, and to do this, we'll perform the following. Connect to PLab Linux 01, so I'll double click up here to get to that computer. Okay, we're going to click Applications, System Tools, and go into Settings. Okay, from the Settings window, click on Network on the left-hand side. And I think I have to scroll down to get to it. Yes, down here at the bottom. Okay. From the Settings window, click Network and look down, and then click the gear icon next to On/Off in the wired section. In the wired dialog box, click the IPv4. Manual is selected. And we're going to type in the following address, which appears to already be there. 192.168.02, 255.255.255.0, and 192.168.0.250. So we'll click apply. The wired dialog box is closed automatically, and we'll close the settings window. That brings us back to the desktop. And now we're on task 2, connect with CentOS using Putty. To perform any operations on a system, you need to log into the system. In this task, we'll log into the CentOS Linux system in the lab. To log into the Linux system, we'll perform the following steps. Step 1, ensure that the required devices are powered on. We want to connect to the PLabs A01, so you come here and double click on the name. If it says it's not connected, this little lightning bolt with the circle around it, we're going to hit that, and it'll come back up. Okay,